Yo, what's going on, guys? Back for this Monday slate. In this video, we're going to go over the baseball picks for today. It ended up being a good Sunday of baseball after Saturday wasn't too hot. Scored a 162.9 on DraftKings. Tweeted out my core on Twitter. So you can follow me on Twitter at the DFS process, because on the days that I don't post a video, usually like Sundays and some weekdays, I post them on Twitter. So these were the core picks, and this was the lineup that I sent out. So if you want to join us for this slate or for the rest of the season or for a week, you can hit the website link in the description, dfsprocess.net. Before we get started with the video, please like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. Starting off at pitcher, we have a couple of really good arms today with Verlander and Corbin. The only problem is both of them are facing teams that don't strike out too much. I think both plays are fine. Verlander's been on fire. He's coming off a game where he shut down the Twins' offense, but the Twins are still one of the least strikeout-heavy teams. They are second or third lowest strikeout rate in the league this season. But he definitely has the upside to get you over 30. He has scored over 30 in 4 out of his 6 starts. So he's definitely a fine play, Verlander. Same thing with Corbin. I think Verlander's a little more safe. Corbin is facing a bunch of righties, even though he's kind of a splits neutral pitcher because of his slider. So Corbin's fine, but I would rather pay up for Verlander if I was picking between the two. But I think going with Zach Wheeler at over $1,000 discount from getting about $1,000 discount from Corbin and $1,500 discount from Verlander. Wheeler gets a much better strikeout matchup here against the Reds. The Reds also get a big ballpark downgrade going into Citi Field. Wheeler has been really good his last 3 starts. He's pitched 7 innings in 2 out of his last 3. Shut down the Phillies with 11 strikeouts last start. Wheeler has electric stuff. His fastball routinely hits 98 to 99. The Reds have a bunch of swing and miss guys with Puig, with Suarez strikes out a decent amount. Same thing with Schebler. Same thing with Winker. They just have a bunch of kind of strikeout-heavy players in the lineup. He also gets to face a pitcher, obviously, in the National League, unlike Verlander. So I think Wheeler's a really fine play at 9,300. He definitely has the upside to produce the same score as Wheeler, and he's at a much cheaper price. And the Reds actually have the lowest implied total on the slate at just 3.5, lower than the Twins and the Cardinals, believe it or not. So I like Wheeler. Vegas obviously likes him too. The second pitcher I like is going to be a very cheap guy. It's going to be Johnny Means at only $7,000. You got to love the name, John Means. At only $7,000, he's making only his second or third start. He's pitched out of the bullpen for much of the season, but he's pitched really well since he's moved into the starting role, and the Orioles have kept him in the starting role, and they booted out David Hess. So Means at only $7,000, he's really cheap still. He pitched a gem against the White Sox his last start, and I think he can do it again. The White Sox are not a great offense. They have a couple of good hitters with Abreu. Yoan Moncada is not as good against lefties at all, but Tim Anderson's really good against lefties. So the only guys that really scares me in this lineup is Abreu and Tim Anderson for John Means. But he's been really solid this season. He has 23 strikeouts in just 20 innings, so definitely averaging over a strikeout per inning. He hasn't walked a ton, only has 6 walks, and he just has some pretty good stuff. So if he's he's probably gonna pitch over 90 pitches again, 90 to 100 pitches. He has some strikeout upside and gets a good matchup here against this White Sox team on the road, so he also gets that ballpark boost. So I like him as a cheap pitcher. So that leaves us with plenty to spend on bats. I like to usually have at least $4,000 to spend on my hitters, especially with DraftKings. This season been very tough on hitter prices. It's very rare you're going to find a bunch of good value hitters unless somebody's injured. But for today, starting off at second base, I like Ozzie Albies. So Ozzie Albies, played him yesterday, going to play him again today because he's facing a lefty. You got to play Ozzie Albies against a lefty. I will show you guys the stats for Albies here using my handy-dandy Fangraphs website. I'll use this site a ton. But if you look at Ozzie Albies, they still haven't updated his stats for today. But his splits against lefties are insane this season and last season as well. This year he's hitting 360. It's going to go up after he hit 2 home runs today. 360 against lefties, over 100 points higher than his batting average against righties this season. If you look at his 2018 season, he hit over 100 points higher as well against lefties, 335 compared to just 231 against righties. And if you want to show all 3 seasons, mainly just last 2, He's hitting 336 against lefties, just 243 against righties. So he gets a great matchup here. He has a lot of power against lefties. And he's leading off, going to get a ton of at-bats here. So I like him a ton at second base. Next guy I like is Manny Machado. So Machado is just pretty cheap at just $4,000. It's one of the cheapest price tags you're going to find for Machado. He's usually going to be he's always been one of the highest priced third basemen. But over the past couple of days, his price tag has been very low, 37, 36, 39. Mainly due to his production hasn't been there. He has been struggling. But he's going to get out of it soon. It's usually you gotta pick between the player and the price tag and the matchup. I think the matchup is okay for Machado. I think Soroka is a fine pitcher, but Machado's obviously an elite hitter. He didn't get $300 million for no reason. He's been scuffling, but he's going to break out of it soon. He has a ton of pop, and if you look at the other third baseman options, you have to scroll down a lot until you get to Machado. I think that's a mistake. He should be higher priced, given all the upside he has, and at just $4,000, he makes some sense here, I think, as because he's pretty cheap, provides some value on this slate. And this year he's been a lot better against righties than lefties. Lefties, he hasn't been able to hit anything this season off them, but he's been pretty solid against righties. So I think he makes for a good play today. In the outfield, I'm going to start it off with Cody Bellinger. I just love Bellinger here. Right now, he is the best hitter in baseball. You can say what you want about Mike Trout, about Yelich, but Cody Bellinger is still hitting .427 on the season. An absolute ridiculous amount. Yelich is on a fire start as well. He's hitting .353, and Bellinger's hitting .427. So he's hitting like 70 points higher, 70-plus points higher than Yelich, which is ridiculous. If you look at the stats for Bellinger, you got to like it a lot here. I'm going to show you guys the stats for Bellinger and then the stats for Samardzija. Let's see, Bellinger. This season, he has ridiculous numbers against right-handed pitching, and Samardzija has struggled a lot against lefties lately. But this season, Bellinger is hitting, he's hitting a whopping .478 against right-handed pitching. Ridiculous. .478 in 83 plate appearances, 67 at-bats. Not a very small sample size. And for the advanced numbers, he only has struck out 8% against righties. He's going to put the ball in play. He has a massive .493 ISO against righties so far this season. He has been smashing righties, and Jeff Samardzija has struggled a lot. Let's see the numbers for Samardzija. Samardzija struggled a lot against lefties for his career. If you look at the splits for him, he's been pretty solid this season, but the Dodgers have a great offense, I think, and especially with the lefties. I think the lefties will be able to get to him. But Samardzija this season, he's struggled against lefties, giving up a .289 batting average, .511 slugging percentage. Same thing was the case last season, so I think the Dodgers make for a sneaky stack. Last season, Samardzija gave up a .521 slugging and a .301 batting average against lefties. And for his career, he's been a lot worse against lefties, giving up a .449 slugging. So I think the Dodgers make for a sneaky stack today, and Bellinger makes for a great play because he's so good. And then the second outfield I like is Jeff McNeil. So I like McNeil a lot too. I like playing leadoff guys that bat in the top 3, top 4 of the batting order. McNeil's leading off. He's been leading off, and for good reason. He's hitting .355 on the season. He makes a ton of contact. He's another guy that doesn't strike out a lot. Only has 11 strikeouts on the season and 93 at-bats. And I also like the Mets too as a sneaky stack because Tanner Roark has struggled against lefties. And the Mets do have some solid lefties here with McNeil. Nemo has power. Conforto has power. Cano, if he's going to be in the lineup, he left the game with a hand injury, but if he's in the lineup, he has power. So I think the Mets make for a sneaky stack. Them and the Dodgers and the Astros obviously are going to be a fine stack. But this season, it's only 7 innings, faced 45 batters. But Roark has got destroyed against lefties. .432 average, .757 slugging given up against lefties. And last season, he gave up .434 slugging against lefties. I think the Mets make for a good stack today as well. But those are the 6 players that I like for this slate. Wheeler, John Means, Albies, Machado, Bellinger, McNeil. Some stacks that I like are going to be the Dodgers. Like I said, the Mets. I think the Astros are a fine stack. Those are probably my top 3 stacks. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Like the video if you enjoyed, and good luck today.